Hi, welcome to Part of My Frenchie. This is me, 143. If you don't have a friend, you have a few now. You are back on the couch this week with myself, Rosie, Coco, and Lola's here on the floor. I'm not sure if you can see her, but this week we are spotlighting our working dogs, another class, which I thought was fun because last week we did the military dogs. This week I thought would be fun to look at another group of working dogs, which are search and rescue dogs and cadaver dogs. They are all a very fascinating group of dogs that do. These ladies are just having just such a rambunctious time this morning. But anyway, so they are a very highly trained group of dogs that do a very, very important job. We're going to see a bunch of clips today of how these dogs get trained and the great work that they do in finding people when they are involved in hurricanes. They did tremendous work when 9/11 hit, finding people in rubble and so forth. So kind of to get us kicked off, there's two different types of search and rescue dogs. The first type, there's live find dogs, which is like they do tracking areas, live search and rescue areas, and that could be they're looking for anything that is like a living human. So they're looking in large areas. That could be miles, fields, any kind of open area. That's where they're going to be looking for. And so this is going to be anything like immediately after like hurricanes or any kind of big national or natural disaster, something like that. That's when they send these dogs out. Or if there's situations where you've got somebody that's lost. We're going to see a few clips where people, sometimes we have, our elderly people, they sometimes will have dementia and wander off. And we'll see a clip in a few here where we have an elderly member of the community that wanders off. And many times they'll have to send a search and rescue dog to try to find these people. Or same thing with little kids. Little kids will wander off, and if they're in highly wooded areas, it's hard for humans to track down, these little people. So it's easier to send a dog to do this. The other type of dog is going to be your cadaver dogs. Your cadaver dogs are going to be looking for, just kind of like it sounds, anything that is not living, or something that is like not been alive for a while. So anything that is kind of like decaying, maybe a crime scene or something that has happened years ago. We're going to see clips in a little bit where somebody had found something in their yard, and we'll see if it's a body or not. But they had to send the dogs out there to see if there's a body buried in their yard. But they send these dogs out when there's missing people because the cadaver dogs will go out and find any kind of decomposing body that is not recognizable. And they are amazing at what they do and what they're trained on. And they also can find weapons. So they're trained on finding weapons as well. Now, these type of dogs, they'll go in the wilderness, they'll go in the water, and they'll also go in like rubble areas. So the cadaver dogs are unique in the sense that they can also be trained for water. So we'll see how they're trained in a few videos as well, because that's really unique. And that's one of the more difficult trainings for a dog, to be trained on how to smell out water, and cadavers and stuff in the water. So that's really cool. You'll see the videos on that coming up. The most common type of dogs that they use in these search and rescue dogs are usually your Labradors, Border Collies, Golden Retrievers, German Shepherds, your Bloodhounds. Now, they do say that they can use smaller dogs, but they have to be they have to have a lot of agility, because again, some of these places they are jumping, which again you'll see in these videos, especially if it's rubble, they are jumping all over the place through rubble, trying to find things. And you know, even in the snow, avalanches and stuff, they are digging people out. And you know, they've got to be pretty strong in order to do that. So, and they have to have high senses, hearing, smell, eyesight. These dogs have to be sharp. So they have to have a very strong bark. Everything just has to be on point with, you know, in order to make a strong search and rescue dog or a cadaver dog. So anyways, but yeah, they must have all of these things. So in the first video here, we're going to show you about how they train. So the first one, we're going to show you about how they train some of these. We'll go with the water training first, so that you can kind of see how they train the cadaver dogs on water training. And in this first video, you'll see how they'll be on the boat, and then when the dog barks is when that's when they know, that's how they signal to the person on the boat that they're on, that's where they need to stop. And you'll see the dog is looking in the water. They're trained to look in the water for things, but then also the scent. They're trained by how they put their nose in the water. And then the closer they get to the scent, the more they bark. So let's take a look at some of these videos, and then you'll see in another training video how they actually go out and they can retrieve people. So let's take a look at these, and we'll be right back.
In order to direct the boat, the handler can give me specific directions, but I'm also going to watch the dog's behavior and where his nose is pointing. In this training exercise, we know where the odor is, but in the real world, we'd be solely based on the dog's behavior to narrow it down. Soon we're going to see his behavior change. He becomes much more serious and begins to bark towards the surface of the water to tell us that the odor is very strong right here. There he barks again. What a good boy. Here we have canine Hazzy. You can see her nose up, looking into the wind. She'll even lick her lips and lean out. These are all behaviors that tell us she's in odor and is trying to get more in order to work out where exactly it's coming from. Here you'll see her lap at the water and sniff the very surface of the water in an attempt to get more odor. And now she's telling me that the odor is very strong right here. It's in the air, it's at the surface of the water, it's even cooling in the boat, she says.
Okay, yeah, so that was great. Those were great videos on just how talented those dogs are. And so if we go a little bit more in depth on these training, if we stay with the cadaver dogs, we can see how, like I said, now we'll go into that one where the dog hits on this person, thought that they had found a body in their backyard that was rolled up into a carpet. Now, I know this was a big thing on TikTok, and you're going to say, Jen, they didn't find anything. And it's true. Once you see this video, you're going to see that the dog hits on the spot where this lady, backstory, if you didn't see this on TikTok, a lady was putting a fence into her backyard. She found a rug, and she called the cops because she thought that maybe there was a body or something rolled up in this rug. Anyways, they called the cops, they called the canines, the cadaver dogs came out. You'll see in the video how the cadaver dog is sniffing around and comes back to where the rug is, that's the hole where the rug is, and sits down, which is signaling that they have found some sort of human remains. Now, when they ended up digging it up, there was no human remains found. And I looked further into it, and because I was like, well, what would have caused that dog to hit if there was no human remains found? And what I found was even if there was no like body parts or anything, these dogs, their senses are so heightened that even if there was human oil, even if somebody had had a bloody nose, a paper cut, any kind of blood that was ever on that rug, that dog was picking up on. That's how heightened their smell is. But I want you to see how when they do make a hit, when a cadaver dog does, find something, I want you to see, and this is going to be on land. That's why I want to show you the land one. When they do make a hit on land, this is what it looks like. So let me show you this one real quick. So as you could see in that video, the dog was, going around, sniffing around quite a few times, and then came back to that area and sat down. They actually brought out a second cadaver dog for that one as well, and it did the same thing. So we had 2 cadaver dogs hit on that same area. And again, because what these dogs, how the cadaver dogs are trained, or what they pick up on. They're called VOCs, volatile organic compounds, which when a human body decays, it emits these VOCs or gases. So, and that's kind of what is specific to the human when we decompose. It's these VOCs. And supposedly that's what these dogs are picking up on, are these gases that we emit when we decompose. And that, these dogs can pick up scents that are 15, I think their max was 15 feet down in the ground, in water, and then in like kind of rubble or debris. So that's pretty far down to be able to sense a smell that much. But we'll, like I said, I'm going to show you a couple other videos here where they're, going through different parts of rubble and so forth. So let's check those out right now. So kind of shifting from the cadaver dogs, now going back to the live search dogs, or the search and rescue dogs. These dogs are trained kind of in a similar way. They go off of course, scent, just kind of like the cadaver dogs do, but they're trained off of live human scent. So you'll see in a couple of the videos here, they start out with, if the one video I'll show you next is where they locate a 3-year-old little boy. The parents had the little boy's blanket, And right away, they put the blanket up to the dog's nose. The dog takes the scent, and immediately the dog runs. He can smell that scent, smell that child from that scent. It's amazing. It's amazing how they can take that scent and put their nose in the air and find that scent. They do that with there's another video I'll show you as well, coming up probably right after the one with the little boy. And it's these dogs are just phenomenal. The way that they can just take one whiff of something and then they take off. It's just crazy how they do it. So let me show you the one with the little boy, and then I'm going to show you another one right after with an adult. And this is the one with the adult is the one I was explaining about, where we had an adult that, unfortunately she had dementia and wandered off, and she was in the middle of woods somewhere. And, thank God for this dog, because she was out there for quite a bit, quite a while, and had somebody not found her, it could have been a bad situation. So let's check these out.
Yeah, that way it doesn't mess up the scent.
All right, you're done. Okay. Sopa. Sopa. Hey. Come here, buddy. Where you at? I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. Get him, Bubba. Find him, Bubba. About 10 and 11 Central, I got him. Correction, 5 Alpha 15, I'm sorry. Come here, buddy. Come on, I'm going to take you home. I'm going to take you home, okay? Good job, buddy. Good job, Midnight. Good job, Bubba. Midnight here. Midnight here. Midnight here. Midnight here. Good boy. Good boy, buddy. Good boy. There's a good boy. There's a good boy. Good boy, buddy. Good boy.
Good girl. I think that's her, dude. Yep. Blue sleeve shirt. Come on, girl. Good girl. Good girl. Yay. Come on. Good girl. Let's go. What's her name? Hey. Lena. Ah, Pandora. Yay. Girl. Yay. You gotta come. Here you go. Here. Pandora. Ah, what's that? What's that? What's that? Oh, good girl. Here, 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 here. Here, here, here. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Yay. Good girl. have them bring that cart back. You like doggies? You like dogs?
I do.
This is Pandora. Would you like to pet her?
Yes.
Here, baby. Hi.
What?
Hi. Oh, look at that. Look at that. You did such a good job. I mean, the put.
So I want to show you now some of the videos of these search and rescue dogs on how they train, and then how, you know, some videos of them finding people or getting through some of the debris, or, you know, finding people in the woods, and just how smart they are. It takes them, you know, a minute, and they are off and running. It's just absolutely amazing to think that one sniff of something and they can save lives like that, save a human life, save, you know, lives that are buried under crumbling buildings, or, you know, when we're, you know, in floods and so forth. You know, they can go and help people. It's crazy the things that these dogs can do. So let's check these out. I hope you've been enjoying the video so far. If you have, please hit the like, subscribe, and comment button. Please tell all your friends about us. Another one that I want to kind of touch base on, we had, and I want to give some facts here too. We had over 300 dogs, over 300 working search and rescue dogs when 9/11 happened. Over 300 of our dogs were working when the Twin Towers were hit. There's a famous picture which I will show next to my head here. That dog, his name, he was a Labrador, and he was, his name was Riley. He was 4 years old, and he was a trained search and rescue dog. That's, iconic photo of him. But these are the type of dogs that were going through the rubble for hours upon end looking for people, and they served the community at the time. Now, there was a special story in there. One of the people that were in the Twin Towers was named Michael Hingson. He was a blind man, and he was on the 78th floor of the World Trade Center when the tower was hit. He had his service dog with him, whose name was Roselle, and he's completely blind. Tower gets hit, and she calmly led that man plus 30 other people down 78 flights of stairs, 1,400 stairs. That dog led him and 30 other people out of the tower and to safety. That dog remained calm, kept those people calm, and led those people to safety in the middle of everything. And it shows you just how well these animals are trained, how much they love the people that they work with, and it's just, again, I can't say enough about how smart these dogs are, how loving they are. They love what they do. You can just tell that. You could tell how well they're treated. You could tell how happy they are. They're not forced to do these things. You can't. It's not like they're miserable doing these things. They get rewarded when they find things, and they're appreciated because they're saving lives. They're saving lives that wouldn't have been saved, or maybe if people would have been found, it would have been too late. But I want to show you some videos of 9/11, and it's going to be more of pictures and some scenes, but of some of our working dogs from then. And I'll also show the picture of Michael and his dog. So check this out.
On the tragic day of September 11, 2001, Roselle, a loyal guide dog, demonstrated extraordinary courage and devotion to her blind owner, Michael Hingson. As the North Tower of the World Trade Center was engulfed in smoke, Roselle remained composed and focused, guiding Hingson down 78 floors to safety. Hingson later said, "While everyone ran in panic, Roselle remained totally focused on her job. While debris fell around us and even hit us, Roselle stayed calm." For her bravery, Roselle was honored with the Dickin Medal, recognizing her role in guiding her blind owner to safety.
So yeah, so that was the video of right there. You saw Michael and his dog, and some great scenes there. Michael and a lady named Susan did put out a book talking about that situation. It's called Thunder Dog. If anybody's interested in looking further into that, but it's a very, very interesting story, and again, a beautiful story. Roselle did pass away in 2011 of typical old age for a dog, but she put a lot of good service in as a service dog and did her job in life. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. So, anyways, well, that is the end of the road here for this week. I hope you enjoyed the videos on the search and rescue dogs. I hope you learned something. I hope you appreciate them just as much as I do. There's nothing like finding out, what our canines do for our communities, and just learning to, appreciate them more, and, taking interest in something. Until next week, if you don't have a friend, you have a few now. Please tell all your friends about us. Hit the like and subscribe button. Take care. Bye-bye.